welcome back to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
And remember, our goal is always to guide you to personal and financial wellness.
All right, thank you for joining us for the second half of the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Also on the hometown station, it's live. You can also see it live at donandgino.com. We live stream this. That way you can see my very handsome guest, Mr. Carlos Villalobos, has been on the show like, I don't know, 3 dozen times at least.
Not Gino.
No Gino today. I've upgraded. And my fellow Rams fan here.
Yes.
And good friend, Carlos Villalobos of Carlos Villalobos Insurance. We love having him on. He handles all our personal insurance and our business insurance and everything else because he's outstanding. He knows his stuff, plus he's honest, and he thinks through what we should do with our policy to make sure we're properly covered. We were just kind of talking about that, where agents can manipulate things to get you a lower policy, not realizing you're not properly covered.
True.
I mean, you were just talking about somebody who basically had all these different units and apartment buildings, and somebody else gave them a huge difference in rate quote, and you're like, that is impossible. Let me see the policy.
And we determined that it was not possible because instead of saying the right information, the information was wrong, and that lowers the rate.
But that would have put them in huge jeopardy if they had to file a claim.
It would have, yes, it would have been, well, not only that, when the underwriter gets it and realizes, because they always check, they don't assume that what we put on an application is true, then that insurer would have got a rate increase anyways. With the right information too.
But
so
by that time,
by lowballing another agent, for example,
initially,
now the insurance already switched, and then the agent goes, "Oh, I made a mistake."
Actually, yeah, but calling something 4 units when it's actually 5 units, when you have 4 units,
that's
really,
chicken, but that's okay. It happens.
Yeah. Anyway, so be careful. Reach out to Carlos Villalobos. You won't have to worry about that. 255-8282. Carlos V Insurance at gmail.com is his email. Carlos V. What's your web address?
It's the same one. www.carlosvinsurance.
That's easy.
And we love to give policy reviews for free. So if you have a policy, you love your agent, that's okay. Send me a copy. We'll go over that with you. Make you a suggestion.
With increasing values, you need to know you're properly covered. You just did that for a friend of mine, and they weren't properly covered. They would not have been able to rebuild their house. Plus, there was no additional coverage or other items covered.
Correct.
And for the same amount of money, basically, she's fully covered with all kinds of stuff that she wasn't. Right. Plus, she has no worries now if, God forbid, something happened, some catastrophe happen.
Well, that's we like to think of ourselves that we kind of look at a policy and make sure that the consumer knows what they're paying for. Because the reality is, if I'm not here tomorrow, and I told you something, it doesn't matter what I told you. It's what's written that counts.
There you go.
And I got to make sure that what I tell you is the same thing that's on your policy.
All right. Carlos Villalobos of Carlos Villalobos Insurance. All right. So Carlos is going to share with us, because we know rates are increasing this year substantially in some cases. So what are the 18 things we can do to lower our rates? Let's jump in.
All right. The number one thing is boost your deductible. Check that deductible. A lot of people have had a home policy with a carrier for 10 years. And 10 years ago, a $500 deductible was the way to go. Nowadays, the number one deductible is about $2,500. That could be a savings of anywhere from a couple of $100 to $400, depending on the carrier. So that in itself is a big, big savings.
And the reason I didn't mind having the higher deductible is I only need to pay that unless it's a catastrophe.
That is correct.
$2,500 would seem cheap.
Yeah. Now, before, back in the day, when you filed a homeowner's claim, your rate stayed the same.
Oh.
Now, when you file a claim, you're going to get a rate increase for that claim.
So that's why nobody
whether
files
they
a claim
pay
anyways for $1,000.
Well, why are you going to have the carrier, if you have a $500 deductible, the claim's $1,000, you're going to get paid $500, the difference.
Right.
But your rates are probably going to go up higher than that for the next 3 years.
Okay, makes sense.
It makes no sense to file a claim, you know. Okay. So as a consumer, you have to make the right choice for you. Another thing is to reinforce your home, adding storm shutters. Another thing to do is Check to see if your foundation has been bolted in case of an earthquake. Some carriers offer a discount for that. Reduce flooding risk. What we mean by that is, when was the last time you changed the insides of your toilet? When was the last time you changed the hoses that go to your washing machine and dryer?
Oh.
You know,
I
because
haven't even thought about that stuff.
well, and that by you doing that, that could avoid you coming home and having a lake inside your home,
And that's probably
which is
a lot
a
of the flood insurance
$30,000,
claims.
$40,000 claim, and then you have to file a claim, of course.
Of course.
But your rates are going to go up, and then if you could just change that hose every 5 years, every 10 years,
Yeah, it's no
whatever's
big deal, too,
recommended,
right.
it's a good thing.
Okay.
Look for discounts. Ask your agent, ask your company what discounts are available. Do they offer discounts for a central burglar alarm? Do they offer a discount for sprinkler system? Automatic gas valve discount in case of an earthquake. Some carriers are now offering discounts for water detection. So if the water meter starts running, it alerts them. You know, they call you to shut off the water, but then there's a discount for that.
Oh, okay.
There's a discounts for a lot of things, professions, policemen, firemen, medical professionals. So talk to your agent, ask them what discounts are available
That's clever.
with my particular carrier, because every carrier is different.
Right.
So you
so
may
get
not.
a list of those discounts.
Exactly. Eliminate unnecessary coverages. What we mean by that is go over your policies and see if there's any extra things that were sold to you when the policy was sold, but maybe you don't need them anymore. Okay? If you have a jewelry floater, what is the value of that jewelry floater today? You might have insured it for $8,000, but now it's only worth $6,000. But why are you still paying for an $8,000 jewelry floater?
Well, I can see that because you're like, oh, well, I bought this wedding ring and it was appraised at $10,000.
Right.
Realistically, is that thing worth that?
Don't know.
2 years down the line, you know.
But, you know, some things go up in value, some things go down in value, and that's why we say take a look at it, you know. Remove any old structures you might have on your lot. In other words, you have a tool shed that's falling apart. The carrier does an inspection, they're going to non-renew you. Get rid of that stuff. Not only that, but it'll avoid catching on fire and then causing damage to your home.
And it's also a danger.
Correct.
Right.
Another thing is bundle your policies. You know, there's been a lot of talk about that. If you do your auto and your home insurance with a carrier, usually you're going to get a better rate. But don't fool yourselves. Check what it will cost you to have a home with one carrier, auto with another carrier. So bundling does work in some cases. In some cases it doesn't, but that's what you need.
In some cases it can't happen.
Right, because your home might be in the brush and your auto carrier is not going to ride your home.
That's why I was thinking about mine.
So much for bundling, because you can't do it.
Right.
All right. Decide carefully about making claims.
Well, you could do it, but it could cost you more.
Yes, that's why.
Meaning, okay, they'll do the brush, but they are really expensive. It's
Right.
better for you to go to a separate carrier because they're not as expensive, so it's not worth bundling. So
Correct.
I'm just saying, there's ways to look at it because you do that because you pulled mine and say no, we can't bundle it because you're in a brush area.
Right.
I live, you know, my house is Stevenson Ranch. That is the fire capital of Santa Clarita.
But it's in the brush area, but yet we haven't lost too many homes because of fires, which
Right.
means.
Stuck,
Great shout out to the fire department
we're
out here. I mean, they do a
love
fantastic
them.
job.
I love them. Like, no, we give them coffee and donuts
I mean,
and whatever they need.
Yeah, I think I've seen it firsthand. My office in one of the
Well, right
fires
next
was
to my house.
right next to. I mean, it was literally less than 100 yards, and it was amazing how they work it.
Yeah, it's not like I can tell you, hey, Carlos, leave your office, come to my house.
Yeah, but
it's right next to it.
Let's just say that my computers and all my hard drives were in my car ready to leave. So that's how close it came, folks. Also, when you're doing that, remove any brush or trim trees. Carriers do not want to see any limbs of the trees touching the roof. That's a non-renewal. They don't want to. They don't want to see it.
And that's what really spreads most fires a lot of times, the trees.
Right.
All right, so we got the top 10 out of 18 things you can do to lower your rates. And I know this might sound like an infomercial, but this is coming from Carlos Villalobos Insurance. And these are solid, real things. This is not just to sell you anything. You don't do that, by the way. I love that, Carlos. You just go. Like, you give quotes to all our clients here at Skyline Home Loans. For our loans, we go, get a quote from Carlos, just so you know what your options are.
And no pressure.
And you don't pressure any of them. And a lot of them go, I like him and I like his
Yep.
company. I like his quote. And a lot of them do choose to work with you, and good
Thank
for
you.
them. That's a smart choice. All right. So we have one more segment here to complete the list. What's that?
No, if you want to hear the rest, you need to call me at 661-255-8282, and we'll be happy to send you a copy of the top 18 things to reduce your homeowner's insurance.
Oh, okay. Or you can email them at carlosvinsurance@gmail.com, and you'll get this list, because this is a great list. This is stuff you and I can accomplish. This is not like, oh, that's silly, but this is good stuff.
Right.
So, yeah, get the list from him, because we do have another segment. We have a different topic to switch over.
Exactly.
Because employment practice liability is going to jump through the roof right here, because if the economy is slowing down some, I know our industry is making an adjustment in the mortgage industry, then employment practice law you might need a little coverage there.
Yes,
So
especially if you don't have it.
Exactly, if you don't have it. So, all right, stay tuned, because in the theme of Halloween, these things regarding employment practice liability will scare the out of you. We'll be right back.